in this time when there's a new heaven and a new earth, basically these things is going to remain. They're going to remain, right? The new moon. Everything starts pretty much at the new moon. But we don't observe any of that. We don't know anything about that. Right? On our day today, we have these calendars that change every 365 and a quarter days, right? And
Mm.
everything falls on a different day each year. Whereas if we were going according to God's calendar, everything would fall on the same day every year. Okay. All right. Let's take a look here at the Exodus 31, 16 through 18. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. So perpetual means without end, perpetual. Okay, it doesn't end. So it didn't say you'll keep this until Christ comes, and then we'll start it again in new heaven and new earth. It's a perpetual covenant. Okay. And it's a covenant. Okay, it's not a contract, it's a covenant. So basically with covenant, blood had to be shed. Right? There's an agreement, like, unto death. So basically, if this agreement is broken, then someone, must die. Right? So here, 17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Forever. Okay. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So once again, it's not a burden. It's actually a good thing. Just like God did. He rested. Okay. And once again, I think it's important, like I said, to point these things out because we're heading into a new school year. Some people have already started. All your sports, all your, tutoring for the kids, um, just everything going on. But then also on the physical level, like just in you personally, think about all the anxiety and all the depression, even coming into winter, where it's darker outside and people tend to have more mental health issues, when it's colder and then darker, less days of sunlight outside. So that has an impact on people. But if we can remember to rest and not to forget about God during those times. So in that resting, what are we doing? We're spending time in prayer. We're spending time in the Word. Okay, we're spending time talking to each other, like the Bible said, in spiritual songs, in hymns, all those things. So those things lift us up. Even yesterday morning, I don't know why, but I started when I got to the school parking lot. I had literally prayed all the way to work. It takes an hour to get to work. Literally prayed all the way to work. Got to work and started feeling like really overwhelmed just for some reason. And, I remember I picked up the phone and I called Kim because I was just going to ask her, could you pray with me? But all she had to do was really just start speaking to me. She really literally started speaking the word to me. And I instantly felt better, just felt all of that just lift off of me. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking, all of, last year or any other year into my new year. I'm entering into, this year, and it's a rest. I'm don't even say I'm claiming it as my own. This is my rest. That I'm entering into, going back to my school, where I felt like, the work that I did was, the work that I do is of a great need. Where I feel like, yeah, it's just a great need. I'm not gonna say that I feel more valued because I did truly feel valued at my school, but I feel like the work that I do here is fulfilling for me, just because I know the people, there's a need. So I just feel like that's the place where I'm supposed to be. So I went back there. And I tried to, like I said, to be disturbed, and I'm like, no. So just hearing the word of God spoken to me, all those things lifted off me, went in there, with a smile on my face, is ready to conquer not just the day, but the year, whatever. So um I love that here at the end of verse 17. And on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. So once again, that's not a burden for you or for me. That is an invitation. That is a promise. That is an example from God. Okay? And then here, verse 18, and he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. So here, what we all know, or we should all know, what those 2 tables of stone were, and what that table of testimonies were, is the actual, words from God, just commandments that He gave to us. So here I have them, and if we take a look here at the left stone, here at the fourth stone, I'm sorry, the fourth commandment on the first stone, it says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." So once again, everybody knows these as the 10 Commandments. So take a look at this. Thou shalt not kill. Is that still true? Or has that passed away? Thou shalt not commit adultery. Is that still true, or has that passed away? Thou shalt not steal. Is that not true? Can you still go to jail for those things? Committing adultery, you may not go to jail for it, but you cause a whole lot of problems, right? By doing that. So once again, has that passed away? So if, God said this is a perpetual covenant, if God said this is something that is forever, and then here we have these other things that we still honor. So basically saying we were selective in what we're choosing to honor, right? So is this day of rest a bad thing? Well, who would want to take away a day of rest? A day of focusing, our thoughts and our intents on God. Like, who would want to take that away from us? I think we all know the answer to that, right? And even here, honor thy father and thy mother. Well, hopefully that is still a value in families. I know sometimes it can seem like a gray area of some people, you look at them, but it's a value. Okay, it's a value. Ezekiel 8:16-17. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing in the house of a light thing to the house of Judah that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence, and have have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. So here, once again, just looking at the scriptures and what it's saying, these are, and it tells you here, house of Judah, and there were 25 men, says here in verse 16, and they had their backs to the temple. Well, if you remember, we went through talking about Solomon, and David. The temple was the place of worship, right? And here, these 25 men, they have their backs to the temple. So if your back is to the temple, is that a posture? Even you right now, if somebody had their back to you, right, is that a posture or a position of honor? It is not, right? I think we all can say it is not, right? It says, and their faces toward the east, and they worship the sun. Well, I mean, that speaks for itself, like what we're saying. What I'm talking about, the argument always seems to be between, is it Saturday or is it Sunday? Well, here, it tells you in verse 17, the house of Judah, that they commit the abominations which they commit. They turn their backs to God and they worship the sun. Well, we saw that commandment. Where was that here? The first thing here, thou shalt have no other gods before me. We see that, right? That's a commandment. And I mean, all those things, the other things, if thou shalt not kill, if that still stands, then all of them still stand. Okay? If thou shalt not steal, still stands. then once again, all of them still stand. So should we be worshiping the sun? S-U-N here. All right. I think once again, like I said, it speaks for itself. And this is Bible study. This is what Bible study is. You gotta dig through here and find stuff and find out what God has said.